Welcome to AskOnline's Math Chat Room. As you'll notice, we have three areas to the chat room: a dialog box, an interactive whiteboard, and a math equation editor. There's also now the ability to add a conference number so that you can record the audio portion of your meeting as well as any written transcripts. We can also integrate Skype if you'd rather use Skype calls, but it's your option. When two or more folks are in a chat room, their usernames will show in this box. In this case, Susan Student and Susan Tutor. Anything that is typed into the dialog box, which is this box, becomes part of a permanent archive record. So if I type as a tutor, hi, how can I help you? That would become part of a permanent archive record. Particularly if you're not using audio, you would want to make sure that any pertinent information that will be viewed later is included in this dialog box. But there are other reasons to use this dialog box, because you can send live links. So if you think it would be important for your student to open a particular web page during your session, you can add a live link, and that will allow you and the student to open a site where you can then let them know. You can even resize and have both open at the same time, where they might get help on this website. So that's one area. You also can upload files into this area as well as your whiteboard. And to do so, you could just go to your chat tools, which is over here, chat, subject tools, my activities. It's the first one. And you can view an old chat transcript. You can insert a symbol, send a file. If I'm a tutor, I can start another private chat room in a new window. And I could pull up my equation editor to create equations on the fly. So if I wanted to send a file, I could do so. I can send it to this dialog box where the student can then open it, or I can send it to the whiteboard. So just for visual purposes, let's send it to the whiteboard. This will allow me to browse my computer, and it will give you a little bit of information about how big a file that I can load. So let me browse. Pull up a math-related file. And when I'm ready, I can send that file. In this case, I'm sending it to the whiteboard. Once it's in the whiteboard, again, this is a live chat, so every participant can see the board and what's loaded on it. I also have my scroll bars, so I can go up and down the document. And there's other features across the top that you may notice that looks a lot like an interactive whiteboard in the classroom. You can make things larger and smaller. You can pan it. You can move anything that you type on there to different locations. You have different size fonts and different shapes and writing tools. So if this was uploaded and I wanted to, as a tutor, perhaps highlight, or the student wants to highlight because they both can write on this, a particular equation, I could do so. Maybe I would use a contrasting color and maybe make my font a little bigger, perhaps use a shape tool, and if it was this equation we were going to work on together, perhaps I would highlight it. I can do lots of other things. I could just write on it freehand, and maybe, just write something like A equals question mark, because we're working on that. If I want to be more precise in my writing, I could use this text box, and it's going to be obviously a little bit neater than my handwriting. And then maybe if I want to move that, if I think it's a little hidden, maybe I'll move it to somewhere that it's more visible. Also, I can use a tablet. If I want to use a tablet to create equations, that would be fine too. Anything that the student or tutor feels would be important to save for not just today, but for studying purposes, I could print it if I have a printer, but most people may not have a printer available right then and there, so they could also go to this snapshot. It's going to take a picture of the board. When it takes that picture of what we're working on the whiteboard, it sends it to this dialog box area. Once it's there, it becomes part of the permanent archive record, and then later that day, week, month, next year, whenever it is that I want to look back at a past chat, there'll be this snapshot, and what it really is really that picture of the work we did that day. So who has eligibility to see these archive records? Only those students who were involved in this chat, the tutor who was involved in this chat, and administrators. I can also go to another page without losing what I did before, and so can the student. So if I wanted to start another page, maybe I want to create a graph, there are some tools down here that are pretty helpful for creating a graph quickly, and maybe I want to make a line graph, so I could do that, maybe again use a different color and a font size that is more visible and create an angle. Or you may be doing bar graphs, so easy to do when you have this kind of tool. Maybe you can even label the axes. Maybe you want to put something like, number of students on one axis, and maybe grades, because they're going to go up once you use AskOnline. So if I don't like exactly where that came up, maybe again I can move it very easily to where I think it should go. Again, anytime that I want to save what we're doing, the snapshot feature. One of the newest features on our whiteboard, besides the normal cut and paste, copy, and that type of thing, would be a smartphone photo upload. So if your student's working on a problem right now, it's great. They can just take a picture of the photo of if it's a writing class, perhaps a poem, or if it's math, an equation that they're working on, and they can email it. Each chat room has its own email address for it to go right on the board for discussion. The third part of your math chat room would be your equation editor. And whereas the dialog box and the whiteboard are seen live, every person who is using this chat room has their own math equation editor. So if I'm working on an equation here, no one can see that equation until I send it up to the dialog box. The equation editor is made with templates along the side and bottom, and I could start with those templates, or I can just start typing at the cursor if I want to create something of my own. And if I do want to use something from the template, I can modify it. So then I might use my arrow buttons up and down along the equation, change a value if that's going to be getting me where I need to go on this equation. When I'm ready for others to see it, I can send it right up to the dialog box by clicking send. Or if I think I might use this again, I can click save and send. It will save this modified equation in my library. So I hit save and send, then I would name my equation what I want to do, what I want to call it, and then it's going to go to the dialog box and also into my library. If I'm a particularly prepared tutor, I may have already a library filled that I can just send to that dialog box already prepared. So if I wanted to do that, I can go to send, find the equation that's appropriate, and send it up. So that's your math equation editor. Again, everything is archived. You can use your conference or Skype integration, or you can have students using the type tool. Either way, the meeting is saved. Thanks so much.